She's 40 ounces deep in Tito's and just
Bruh.
making no sense. That made
Totally.
me crazy.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Margee, it's lovely to see you.
It's lovely to see you, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's lovely to see you in Sutton-coated boat attire.
You know, thank you.
For anyone who can't see, Ramona's in like a high pony with a scarf and like a cute little nautical striped shirt a la Sutton.
Yes.
On Captain Tony, Captain Troy.
Captain Theo.
Theo's
Captain
boat.
Theo. Yes. I was wondering what to wear, and I was like, oh my God, I have a scarf, I have earrings, and I have a striped navy and white shirt. Like, I'm going to fucking pony it up and Sutton Strack it during the pod today. So thank you for
Adorable.
for grokking that.
Hey.
Yes. And I will tell you that doing a pony without glam, it's not easy. I had to try to get this pony about, 10 times, and it's still highly imperfect because it's like when you try to do like a pompadour ponytail, there's like a fine line between if it's just a quarter of an inch too high, you're in FLDS territory. And that don't work for me. So, but anyway.
Trying to be a sister wife here.
Yes, but there was a lot of good ponytail work, as Danny Pellegrino would say. A lot of good ponytail work. Like Kyle's pony was great. Sutton's pony was great.
Erica's final like glam session when the glam guy had like the toothbrush combing her little baby hair flyaways in. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Some detail work. I'm into it.
Baby toothbrushes or toothbrushes in general are just indispensable tools when it comes to hair and makeup.
But with what product? Because I have like crazy baby hair flyaways at my temples too. And like I can put hairspray and there'll still be one that will get stuck sprayed out. Like, I don't understand. Is it gel? What do you use?
You could use a gel. I used like this stick. Like a really waxy stick. I think Bedhead makes one. Not Your Mother's makes one. I'm sure a lot of other people do. Like any kind of a wax. We'll just kind of like tack it down. So a wax, a gel. You could probably even take a little bit of coconut oil, honestly. Anything that's going to like have some like weight and some oil to it.
I was just thinking back to one time I used Aquaphor. I had like these horrible flyaways headed into a meeting and I was like, this is disgusting, but I have no choice and I look crazy. It was like static hair where it was just everywhere and I was like, fine, I'm going to take this stuff that's like petroleum jelly for your lips and like try to work it between my hands enough to just like get the flyaways to go.
I mean, that's what they make wax with. You did
I did it right.
You hacked, girl. You hacked. And I bet you're not the first one to do that. So kudos to you. Yes.
Well,
anywho, are we avoiding getting into this episode?
I don't know why. I mean, it's another episode that has these like incredibly charged scenes and then these like super light who gives a rip scenes. And I think why I'm avoiding it is because Garcelle, I'm like so disappointed in her. She's having one of those seasons like Emily had on OC this season. Where I'm like, you're just a gossipy mean girl. And I don't know anything that's going on in your life. And all you're doing is telling us about how, I just really think she's trying to. And I've been this person before. You spot it, you got it. That's probably why I'm reacting. But like, I think she really wants to be friends with Bose. And so she's like, Dorit's a liar. She never apologizes. Erica was trying to figure out her booze and her pills situation. Like she just keeps doing all of this shit that's so mean. And I don't know. It's just so, it seems out of character for her. And so I was so disappointed in this episode that I had to like not love my Garcelle like I usually do, but whatever.
I hear what you're saying, and I had to continue to remind myself last night that her history with Dorit is very different. And Dorit...
Oh, it is. It's dark, isn't it?
Yeah. Historically, she refused, like she was willfully opposed to listening to Garcelle and validating Garcelle's feelings, regardless of whether or not, like, even Sutton would come after her for it, for
And
the
that
way
was
she
like
talked.
issues of like
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
okay. It's all coming back to me now, and now I'm
Yeah.
starting to see where that
So
motivation might be.
I really understand why Garcelle is highly skeptical of Dorit.
Well, and protective of Bose, of like,
Yes, and
don't get close to this girl because she's a
yeah.
wild card and it's not in a fun way.
And that's what I felt like. And when she was first introduced and when she and Dorit had that, hyper bonding moment so quickly at their first meeting at Sutton's party, that's when I was like, you in danger, girl, like tread lightly with this one. Because I don't know if I hate myself for saying this. I don't hate myself for saying this, but I think I have a right to be cynical about Dorit's motivation for wanting to get close to her so quickly. Is there some damage control going on? Is there some like, oh, look what I'm doing by befriending the next Black cast member? I don't.
Maybe.
I don't. I don't think that. I don't think I'm alone. I think some other people are probably like, I don't know.
I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's factoring in, but it does seem like Dorit is like lonely and terrified.
Yes,
and
that's for
Bose
sure.
is someone who's survived it.
Yeah.
She lost her whole husband and is thriving on the other side of it. And I wonder if Dorit is just like entering this really scary period. But again, it's just like, it's hard. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's get back to pick up at the dinner at the busiest intersection in Oceanside.
Yes.
The table at a four-way stop where we pick up where we left off with Dorit and Kyle getting into it, and Dorit explaining that there's two sets of rules, one for Kyle and one for everyone else. And I thought Dorit was really articulate here, saying that if God forbid she doesn't offer Kyle blind loyalty, if she makes any misstep, Kyle punishes her. And Kyle readily admits it. She's like, I do punish. I do that.
Yep.
It's like, but are you sorry about it, or do you want to change it? Because it's like so mean.
It's so mean. It's so toxic. It's so dysfunctional.
Yes. And it's manipulative.
It is manipulative.
By icing her out, it's actually actively causing harm.
Yes.
And you know that. You're doing it to have that desired impact of destabilizing her and putting her in fear. And it's mean.
It is mean. And I know that on the other side of it, for the person doing the punishing, the person being me, if I'm just mea culpa as hell right now, if I'm just like as honest as, if I'm rigorously honest, when I engage in punishing behavior, it's been to control the situation. It's been so that I feel like I have control in a situation where I either feel wildly hurt. Yeah, obviously wildly hurt, period, full stop. That's what it all comes down to, is fear of not being loved, fear of being left, fear of not being loved at the end of the day. I don't like it. Now I'm at a point where I know when I'm doing it, and it doesn't last nearly as long. It doesn't last 6 months like Kyle, but, it might last a few hours or a few days. So I see both sides. Ugh,
well,
hate that.
And with Kyle's commitment to the length of time, she almost assures that the person will come back submissive, because with that committed rejection, and if it's someone that you did really love as a friend or whatever before, I don't know, you come back like a tentative kicked dog. And I think Kyle likes that approach.
She does. And it sounds like this is not the first time that she's iced Dorit out. It sounds like
she's done it to Sutton. Like it is apparently a big old pattern.
Which I wonder if that should be a clue to Dorit that like she is not your friend. Because if she does it to Sutton, like she wouldn't do that to Erica. She wouldn't do that to Lisa Rinna. She wouldn't do it to Flip. Probably Teddy. But I don't think that she respects Dorit.
She doesn't. And Dorit, throughout this whole episode, makes an incredible case as to why Kyle Richards is not her real friend.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because the outcome of that is going to be the dissolution of that friendship. It's also so creepy of Kyle to withhold that she's talking to Dorit's ex. Like, I mean, if nothing else in this list is the last straw, that is like, you withhold that from me, you announce it on camera. It's gross. And she made sure to talk about it in her scene with Mauricio and in her scene with Garcelle in this episode. So she was angling to get this aired.
Yeah.
And that is gross.
It's so disgusting. What an egregious violation of friend code. Like,
Oh
just
my
egregious.
God.
Egregious
again,
and
it's like,
manipulative.
even if you do feel so inclined to talk to PK right now, it's just that which all seems strange to me. Like, if you're really friends, you can give it a couple months to breathe and like tend to Dorit, but whatever. But it's the secret keeping. But again, I will always react strongly to that because that's the piece that just makes me feel insane. It's like you're making Dorit look like a fool and you're doing it with intent, and that is unforgivable.
Yep. Agreed. 100% co-signed. I love Garcelle's organic, authentic reaction to when she learned that. It was like
she's
horror
horrified.
and shock.
Yes.
Like, there's things that you do, like there's not talking to someone for 6 months because you're fucking an immature, untreated Al-Anon. And then there's, come on. You know?
Can you even like? I can't imagine
either.
doing that. I can't imagine finding out that I had a friend that did that. I'd
Yep.
be like, what?
Yep.
And even if the answer is like, we just sent memes back and forth, it's like, well, that's like almost borderline flirtatious.
Right.
I prefer that you're talking about divorce,
right?
Terms, but it's weirder. But I think Kyle is doing it to further punish Dorit, and I also think she told Mauricio about it to give him a heads up, like, be careful what you do out there because I'm going to hear about it. So if you're going to be out there like fucking girls and whatever, not that PK would ever tell him Mauricio, but Kyle wanted to plant the seed, like, there's an eye on you. And,
interesting. Interesting.
I just think I've really come around to your read on her for the last decade, which is she operates from a place of manipulation and control.
She does.
Like, almost purely, which is really, I've never believed that could be so. But watching this season, I'm just like, do you do anything without the intent of like self-protection or punishment?
No.
Nothing.
No. It's a progressive disease for everybody. Even for her mom was her qualifier if I'm taking her inventory, which I am, which is what we do here.
On this show, not in
this show, not in real life, right? Not in real life, but on this show. That's why we're here. And, oh, fuck, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so she's got her mom. Her mom's her qualifier. She's no longer and has not lived under the same roof as Big Kathy for so long. I don't even know when Big Kathy left this mortal coil. But remember. For example, I will bring it back to myself. So, like, I am an adult child of an alcoholic. I have not lived under the same roof as my father since I was 16 years old. That doesn't matter. It stays in you. It's in your wiring. Your brain waves are shaped by repeated thinking like that. Unless you do something to arrest it and reverse it, it's just going to continue to get worse. Just like the drinker whose substance use is going to progress the longer they continue. And I feel like we're watching her in her last, I don't know, it works for you until it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And
I don't think she'll mind losing Dorit as a friend.
Oh, absolutely not.
She's just clearly, I mean, this whole fight at this dinner, Kyle is just being defensive and awful until Sutton steps in to be like, actually, we've talked about this and you did acknowledge that this is something you do. But like you said, Kyle doesn't care about Dorit. So it didn't occur to her to like consider that this is a pattern that I should care if it impacts this person, because who cares about this person? She's my little punching bag, always there. And Dorit has been. She's been a total Kyle sycophant forever.
Were they the only intact couples up until this season?
Yeah, because now no one is in a marriage, right?
I mean, recently, I know that Lisa's first season being gone last year or the year before? I don't remember, but like it was Harry and Lisa. Yeah, because LVP and Ken haven't been on for a while. Harry and Lisa haven't been on for a while. So it was Dorit and PK and Mo and Kyle at the beginning of last season. But by the end, was Morgan already in the picture?
Morgan was in the picture from the beginning of last season.
So last season was not the one where Dorit came back after the robbery.
I honestly can't remember.
I can't either. Because I know that was like the season opener or something, I think, when that... Anyway, I wonder now if it's like, well, we're both going through our respective separations. Like, I have no use for you. Also, I got to say, and I could be wildly wrong, I could be projecting, I don't know, but I wonder if it's like Dorit and PK are not financially equal or even probably in the same neighborhood as Kyle and Mo.
Mm.
And not to mention, well, I mean, Mo's had his fair share of lawsuits, but I don't think to the extent that PK has. Like, PK's got some skeletons in the closet that I would be really like, oh my God, this is danger, danger, red flag, you know? And so I wonder if, I don't know, Kyle strikes me as the kind of person that does not want to, she don't want to fuck with that, you know?
No. Yeah, no.
So, yeah, I don't think Dorit has anything to give her socially. I don't think that she serves a purpose anymore.
No, and she's not willing to be Kyle's punching bag anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is really bothering Kyle of like,
Yeah.
but that's the role I assigned to you.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I know last week on the podcast, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but last week on the podcast, I said, I wonder if they're still together because I had speculated through some of Kyle's behavior, like her lack of confidence last episode, especially with Mauricio, like, oh, are she and Morgan still together? And then this week, the pictures came out where she was photographed, I don't know, outside of a Starbucks or leaving a Starbucks with Morgan and Lisa Rinna.
Yeah.
Rinna in one of her QVC dusters with her 30-year-old haircut.
God bless. You know, just
listen, I shouldn't talk about
brand.
the 30-year-old haircut, you know?
Well, but I mean, there's so much to not like about Lisa Rinna, but I do love that you can identify her anywhere, in daylight, in silhouette, in like, she is a cartoon.
Feature, not a bug.
Yeah, she's a cartoon design at this point, and I kind of love that. Yeah, no, because Kyle, it just seems like Kyle wants it all. Like she's the one who initiated the split of that marriage, and now it's not like it was last year where she had Mauricio sort of begging for her attention and also all this like fulfillment and excitement with Morgan. Now Mauricio's like, bye, I'm going to live my own life. And she's like, how many towels do you have? It's like, he doesn't,
God.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's really, it is really interesting. It's an interesting season because it doesn't feel like we know all these stories yet, which
no, and it seems
I appreciate.
Like Dorit's really coming into her own, and Kyle is still Kyle. Like she doesn't, although she's grown out of her marriage, she's still like immature in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Just in the way she fights here. She's like, Dorit explains to Kyle that this is the pattern of behavior. This is the way you treat me. It's the way you've always done it. She gives the example of, Dorit made the cheeky comment about Kyle's fashion show. I had to save Kyle's fashion show from Kyle, which was clearly a joke.
Clearly.
And Dorit lets us know that led to 6 months of no contact, which is insane. And Kyle gets immediately defensive. She's like, because I was starting a business and I was excited, but you were putting me down and you were making fun of me. And it's like, just like that to me is like how like 7th graders argue. Like, yeah, but, as opposed to being like,
exactly.
Yeah, maybe 6 months was extreme. And I can see where you meant it as a joke. Can you see how it landed with me as like an insult that undermined my confidence? Like, there's just a way to have this conversation. And Kyle's like, she's always like, you know, like, she's so agitated. Like,
especially when they roll tape and it's like full hip on display with the Capri Room at Buca di Beppo. Listen, I made fun of Dorit for doing the Capri Room at Buca di Beppo, which FYI, I am not above a Buca di Beppo. I fucking love the kitsch factor of Buca di Beppo. I don't know if they've shut down every location or if they're in the process of doing that. I know some of them here are no longer. I appreciate the Pope table that they have in every single one, you know. And like I've said, it's no secret that I don't find Dorit to be the fashionista that everyone else and she thinks that she is. But I don't know if there was jealousy involved or whatever, but Kyle she gives the same kind of, I'd say her digs are even more mean-spirited than Dorit saying it. Like Dorit at that point had already put on fashion shows for Beverly Beach. Maybe she put on that weird wedding atelier when she had that at her house. What did PK say? Oh no, that was Beverly Beach, Berlin. Like he's so drama. Anyway, yeah. I am. God no, I'm drinking the Dorit Kool-Aid too. I'm
No,
not
but
gonna
it's
lie.
not Kool-Aid.
This
She's
season.
legitimately changing because she has been obnoxious and annoying, but she really hit a wall and she's really clear about who she is and what she's willing to accept. And I think that was my problem with her all these years is like she was always just sort of flitting around accepting anything from these like truly terrible creatures. Like
Right.
PK is just he's always been dismissive and abusive and that's the same thing Kyle does to her. And I did love because Dorit mentions being iced out for 6 months after saying a joke about Kyle's dumb fashion line that immediately failed. So
dumb.
she was right. And Kyle's like, I would never do that to your business. And Dorit just stops and is like, you've got to be kidding me. And then, like you said, they show the flashback to the Capri Room where Kyle makes a joke in literally the same cadence, the same performance. And this was in 2019. So that predated Kyle's fashion show, right? So either way, it's the same joke. And like the fact that you expect not to be iced out when you're so sensitive to, it's absurd.
It is. I agree. I 100% agree. Kyle doesn't give a shit also what we think. I think last time we did Beverly Hills, I said watch her behavior on her Watch What Happens live appearances versus what she shows us on the show. What she's showing us on the show right now, like at dinner last night, the dinner that we saw, or 2 nights ago, whenever, this week's episode, we're seeing the real Kyle now.
Yeah.
We're seeing the real, like when she rolled her eyes at what Dorit said,
my God.
I was like, dude,
It's so...
there is no open bone in her body when it comes to Dorit.
And I would posit that that's the result of the passed down trauma. So Kathy treats Kyle the way Kyle is treating Dorit. Because if you're the receptacle of that kind of treatment without help, you continue the cycle by finding someone else in your life to exercise your power over.
Yep. Yes.
While you continue to be dumped on by, a Kathy or whoever it is.
100%. Yep. Absolutely.
And then
absolutely.
Kyle gets all righteous, but really undermined her own argument, in my opinion. Dorit says, like, this is a pattern of behavior, but I'm speaking now specifically of what's happened. And Kyle just goes like, in the 2 years since I lost my best friend and I'm going through a separation, give me a fucking break.
Yep.
And I appreciated Dorit for focusing on the right part of that, which is 2 years. And Dorit has just entered a separation. It's her turn now to be raw and sensitive. And like, you've had 2 years of grace. I really wanted the answer to the question, like, what is the expectation? How long is someone supposed to put up with you randomly icing them out because you're in pain? And I think Dorit did a nice job of doing it as long as she could. And I think her straw that broke the camel's back moment makes total sense. And I think Kyle's just digging a grave for this friendship. Oh my God. And then at the end of the scene, we're not there yet, but Kyle says, like, that woman who was just screaming at me, I don't know who that is. I'm like, you're the one who's screaming. You're screaming and cussing and spitting across the table. And your takeaway from that is that Dorit was yelling at you. It's amazing to me. And again, this is all my adult child of alcoholic stuff of like, that is the takeaway from arguments with like the alcoholics in my life is they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, I swear I was not. I know I wasn't because I was sober. I was in a heated conversation, but I was not yelling. I know what I'm like when I yell. It is out of control. But like anyways, so that Kyle's perspective on these arguments with Dorit like blow my mind.
They do. And
it doesn't change even when she watches the tape back, it seems, because she's had years of this.
Because she doesn't care.
Right. Good point.
And this would be a good time for her to hear what you say to your friends going through a hard time. You're going through a hard time. You have a year to be a fucking nightmare. I know I'm paraphrasing and not saying
No,
as
that's
eloquently
true.
as you do, but you do not get to be mean to me. You know? Like, yeah, she can be a mess and high maintenance or not high maintenance. What am I looking for? Like, I don't know what her behavior would look like if she
But it's
followed that credo, but like,
never in a good mood. Call at 4 a.m. Like you have a full year to be
yes,
an unrecognizable version of my friend,
yes.
with the one exception of taking it out on me. That's where
Yeah,
that
you don't
line
get to
cannot get
abuse
blurred.
me.
No,
You don't get to abuse me in the name of mourning your friend and losing your marriage.
And the reason I've added that caveat into these moments in life with my friends and family is because it does get confusing. It's so disorienting. It does start to feel like, I think it's Margie's fault that I'm alone and pissed off. And it's like, it's not. And so like, let's keep the focus on whose fault it is. And I'm happy to drive you to any. And if I do shit wrong still in that year of friendship, I'm not like trying to absolve myself of anything, but it is a complicated moment in time with that much loss and change. But you can't be, this is going to sound harsh, but you can't be lazy like that with a long-term friend. You have to
Totally.
do me the one fucking favor. Don't think before you pick up the phone to call me at 4 a.m., but take a quick breath before you say you're never there for me. Because that's not me. You're
Yep.
talking to someone else, and I need you to
Yep.
fucking not put that at my feet because I take it personal because I'm still
Totally.
a person.
Totally. I agree. 100%. Co-signed. Co-signed. Dorit asks Kyle if she was mad at Erica Jane for the text reunion comment. Text reunion, the text comment, last Textgate.
Textgate, the text that Dorit read on camera to
Yes.
Erica. And
Yes.
Erica declared that the text was manipulative.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Dorit did not lead the witness. She said, how would this make you feel? And she said, it's manipulative. And
Yeah.
And Erica got in no trouble.
She did. She got in no trouble, which maybe Erica's also on Kyle's hit list. I don't know.
Kyle explained and defended this too. She's like, well, that was the only transgression that Erica committed. You have a whole list. You have a list of all these things that are
keeping the list.
Yeah.
Keeping the list.
And the
That's
list
also
is
a
bullshit
hallmark.
because so many of the lists, many items on the list are televised and they're clearly jokes.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this is, you have it out for her.
Yeah,
And again,
agreed.
I think it's all the rage she has at Mauricio and herself and her family and everything. And it's Dorit is her target, and good fucking luck logicking your way out of that position.
Totally. Oh, Bose says none of these women say what they mean or are what they say they mean. My notes are not clear.
No,
But-
basically, yeah, she said none of them are direct. Like,
Yeah.
there's basically Jennifer Tilly and Bose are like, I'm not following this. And Jennifer Tilly is like, this is clearly much deeper than whatever conversation they're having right now. This is years of history fueling this.
Absolutely.
And Bose is like, yeah, and nobody's saying what they mean. It's all this,
Exactly. And I mean, she comes from, I mean, at least professionally, she comes from an environment where you don't get to like not say what you mean. You have 5 minutes per meeting. You're busy as hell. Every minute is worth $1 million of your time for the companies that you work for. And you got to be like, she's not sending emails to say, just wanted to, sorry to, circling back on. Like, it's like, boom, clear communication. I'm not saying it's not toxic. We all know that those tech companies have their own hotbeds of dysfunction, but like, you know what I'm saying. I don't need to beat a dead horse with that one. But
No, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I had the same thought. I was like, oh, this is where Bose is coming into this world from a professional world.
Yeah.
And none of these women have, as much as they've started their own businesses and all that stuff,
Yep.
they've never existed in a professional environment. Like you said, where if you want to get a need met, you have to be direct and articulate and
right.
yeah. And that's not
Especially-
happening here.
Especially as a woman of color in the C-suite of those male-dominated tech companies that she comes from. Holy shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that neither of them are rattled. Jennifer's just like eating her food with her hands, and
Oh
Bose
my
is
God, I
like, I'm
know.
not scared. I'll figure out what the root causes of these
Yeah.
grievances are in time. Like, I
Yeah.
loved
Yeah.
it.
I know. I know. There's such good balances to these
Yes.
these other I was about to say characters, which I guess fits.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
Because both Jennifer Tilly and Bose have had big lives, expansive lives outside of a housewife. I mean, like a real housewife
I
of
get it.
Bravo
Yes.
world.
Yes. Dorit says, whenever I've confronted you because you've done something shitty, your answer is always, yeah, I was mad. So, and and Kyle throws her like a half-ass
Oof.
apology that someone 100 miles away could. No, that's not true. Wait, what was I trying? I was going to say, like, no one can see that everyone can see. Oh, yeah. If you're 100 miles away, you can still see that apology is. Dude, I took my ADHD meds this morning. How am I tripping over words? I mean, hours ago. Like, it should be running through the blood system to my brain right now. And I'm still, who cares?
No, to quote my first therapist in Los Angeles, oh, well, not perfect yet.
Oh, well, not perfect yet.
What are you going to do?
Oh, God, that makes me want to tear up a little bit, actually.
I
Not
know.
going to lie.
It's so weird. I woke up this morning, weirdly, I woke up this morning thinking of her, and I had the darkest thought. I'm like, I wonder if she's still alive. And I was going to look it up on my phone, but I was like, don't do that. Like, like, don't start your day anyways, because she was wonderful. And I was thinking about how, like, maybe I will look her up, because if she is still alive, I'd love to tell her, like, your legacy is massive and intense, because literally everyone I ever meet gets, the 5 to 10 phrases from Dr. Samantha Fox that have guided my life since 2002.
I actually have a story that I can relate to you in this one, and maybe it will give you motivation to do that. My very first therapist, our very first therapist that worked with me, well, that's all I'll share. I won't share about any other family members that she treated, but like, her name was Fran Cutright. Can't even say her name without tearing up. I don't think I'd be here without her. Started seeing her when I was 16. And she took me, not only warts and all, like, she fucking heralded me. And she metaphorically and probably literally held me more times than I can count or remember. And every once in a while, I would Google her to see where she was. And I don't remember how old I was when I stopped seeing her, but probably when I left San Diego and went to school in Seattle. But I eventually found that she had passed, and I don't remember how I found her son on Facebook, but I did. And I wrote to him and I said, I thought you'd want to know that your mom was my therapist. I don't think I'd be here without her. I think about her all the time, and she meant a great deal to me. And I loved and adored her, and I can't remember what else I said. And he was succinct and yet very appreciative that I shared that with him. And he sent me a picture and a quick update of, what her life was like before she passed away. And I have her picture on my refrigerator. And if I ever get around to doing an altar for Dia de los Muertos, like, her picture will be front and center for sure. So my point is, go forth and Google if you want. Yeah. Oh, friend. I know.
It's so sweet. And I think also, any like death that enters my world, it starts bringing up like all the stuff of like, make sure you do tell people.
Right.
And I'm glad you shared that. So I love that. And she is so important. And the reason I stopped seeing Dr. Fox is because I reached a point in my life where I had referred everyone in my life to her.
Oh my God.
So I
remember
couldn't go
this.
in there without
I
being
remember
like,
this.
oh, well, Beth, who was on the show, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You're working with me and my boyfriend. Like, it was all just, everyone in my life was in that office at some point because she was so good and she really helped me. And so I think, to her credit, people in my life noticed, like, Margie's better. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, go see her.
Right.
Don't wait. Get in those doors. And
Right.
so at a certain point, I had flooded her whole office with everyone I knew, and it just became too
Amazing.
Yeah.
You're like, and thank you, and now I can't get in.
Well, and also I was like, I would start asking questions like, because so-and-so said they were doing this. Were they doing this? Because I know you know the truth.
Oh,
Because it's like she was
She's
working
like,
with
I
all
can't say
these
that. I can't confirm or deny
It was
jack.
I was getting so weird. I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, this is not fair for me to put you in a position to like confirm my suspicions or, whatever. It was whatever. Obviously, I was not healed. And so I moved on to a new therapist.
Oh, well, not perfect yet.
Yes, exactly.
Yep, not perfect yet. And again, I cannot tell anyone listening who is shopping for a therapist or currently in a relationship with a therapist that doesn't feel in your soul like it's a perfect match. Finding a therapist that you click with is one of the hardest things. It's really, I validate the challenge. I validate the disappointment of sitting sitting in a session and you're just like, she's not getting me. I'm not getting her or him, whatever. And what do I do? And so if you find yourself in that situation, keep looking. You don't even have to give up the one you're going to break up with. You don't even have to give them up now until you find someone new, but you deserve to find that person that you click with the most. It's for you. Yeah.
And it happens like in unexpected ways. Like my very first therapist in New York City, I was so desperate. I'd looked in the phone book and found my way to her. She helped with eating disorders. She's the one who referred me to Dr. Fox out here. And then I had to leave Dr. Fox because my whole life was happening in her office. And then I tried a bunch, those first meetings, and I was just like, no. But it took me identifying what I want. And it was through, we've talked about it on this podcast before, it was through seeing someone else's therapy in a reality show that I was like, that's what I want.
Yes.
I just want someone to be really direct with me. Because my first therapist here was amazing. And I needed what she did for me, which is like, you're doing great. Like, and she would call herself a full service business because nobody, my sister and I weren't, we weren't the focus of our household, so maybe we weren't raised really great, because there was just so much other chaos that had to be managed at all times. So I learned that everybody washes their face and brushes their teeth before bed every night. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you wash your face before bed. So I was 25, and of course in college you don't wash your face because you're just like, or at least I was just out partying all the time, so who cared? But I wanted to be an adult and I didn't know how. And so she really guided me and loved me into self-sufficiency as a grown-up. And then I hit the point where I needed some like really strong direction of like, there are things that I'm doing that are still harming me. And I need outside help to find, I don't want to leave. And that's the scary part. So I need outside help to help me figure out how to stay or how to leave. And then I had a dark depression where I was on the couch and watching reality TV, and I found the next therapist. So you never know.
TV's Dr. Ann Wexler. Reality TV's
yeah.
Dr. Ann Wexler, yes.
She's phenomenal.
Yes, I love that story. I love that story forever. In perpetuity, I love that story.
God, I'm really trying not to talk about this episode. I don't know what is going on with me.
I know. I agree.
Anyways,
Kyle.
Go ahead. Go.
Kyle says that Dorit doesn't offer sincere apologies, and Garcelle agrees with Kyle that Dorit doesn't say she's sorry. Now, for Garcelle to say this, 100% I validate. Kyle, I don't agree. I don't agree that Kyle has that experience. I don't know.
I thought it was weird that Garcelle interjected. I was like, this is so clearly just between the two of them. Like, Garcelle just said no. And then the whole thing like derailed, and Dorit's like, what? And she's like, no, what? No, I don't think you don't not apologize to never. It was like, what's happening? I got lost in the
But then they rolled tape and they showed why.
Right.
And again, I have to say, like, Dorit really just was, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, she was willfully confidently committed to not listening to Garcelle's experience with her at all. Like
Oh, wait, did they roll tape of Dorit and Garcelle?
I think they did. They went back.
Oh, I
They went
missed
back
it.
to the season where, God, whose house were they at when Dorit had committed yet another microaggression? And even Sutton was like, dude, what are you saying? You can't say that.
Mhm.
Like, and whose house were they at? It doesn't matter. It was when Dorit wore the sweatshirt that was like 90s supermodel. And I remember I was like all pissed off. I was like, oh, shut up, you dummy. Anyway, I'm such an asshole. I'm
That's
such
so
an
weird. I
asshole.
missed that.
Yeah. I know at some point in the episode, they rolled that footage.
Okay.
So again, I got to say, for Garcelle, I understand where she's coming from 100%. Because if I put myself in her position, I'm going to be like, bitch, you never fucking apologize. Because
Yeah.
Dorit never did apologize to
No.
Garcelle in a satisfactory way.
No, and I even remember, didn't they have a lunch, like a sit-down lunch?
Yeah.
And Garcelle really clearly stated,
Yes.
here's what's the matter and here's what I need from you. And Dorit was like, well, no. And
Yep.
then and Garcelle was like, okay, well then agree to disagree and see
Yeah.
you when I see you.
And even Dorit says, I don't expect you to disagree with Kyle. I wouldn't expect you to. And it's like, you still don't fucking get it, man.
But Dorit is also operating from the place of Garcelle's the one who said on the reunion, your robbery was staged by your crooked ass husband.
I mean,
And so I know. I do wonder if Dorit will eventually come around to seeing why Garcelle is probably not
it was
wrong.
the first thing I thought of when Sutton said that comment when they were on the boat, or when she did her confessional. You know, I'm real concerned about Dorit. It seems like there's, I don't know. I have in my notes. We'll get to it later. But
No, you're right. Because she said, I think there was real love that Dorit
Yep.
had for PK. And I think she may have overlooked some things
yeah,
due to
Yeah.
that love. And that's going to be a hard bubble to burst
it
right
is.
about now.
It is. And I still can't believe that she is riding so hard for this very unsatisfactory man.
Well, fortunately, he's showing up in less and less satisfactory ways. So she's sort of being pushed out of the nest, you know,
Yeah,
when he was
you're
like, we're
right.
not going to talk. I'm new PK.
You're right.
Look at my sexy outfit. Oh, God.
So at this point, there is an awkward silence that I was so thrilled they kept in, because it really highlighted and showcased the utter dysfunction that is, that's like unrolling before our eyes. Erica puts her head in her hands. The table is quiet as a mouse. Like, it's ugly, and it should be ugly. No music, just straight up awkward silence. And I was thrilled to see it. I was thrilled to see that real life nugget.
I loved it. And it was also so, as we say in writing, character illuminating, because Erica had her head in her hands. Then they cut to Kathy, who's smelling a lit candle. She held up to her nose a flame and just like completely ditzy, just like, like just unwilling to engage in the emotion at the table. So she's just like, I'll put my face in this lit candle. Sutton is checking her phone and Bo's like down some wine. Like, it just was a look at like,
Yeah.
when there's discomfort in the space, this is this is how these women manage.
Yep.
And then Dorit finally excuses herself and Erica walks her out, and Kyle claims that she came into the night looking for a resolution. Bullshit. You were defensive. You were defensive the whole time until Sutton intervened. You were like, yeah, but, nuh-uh. And then she gave her, that girl who was screaming at me, I don't know who that is. And I was like, we just watched. She wasn't screaming. No one on the street corner walking by throughout the scene even turned a head. So that's crazy. But I do think it is that thing of like, Dorit had some honest emotional energy in her voice. And I think Kyle is not here for that with this friendship.
Nope.
That's not Dorit's role. And she doesn't get to have feelings. There's no space for that. And until Kyle's life is completely resolved and she's completely fine, Dorit's going to have to hang back, you know?
Yeah.
And Dorit's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Kyle can't deal with feelings. Kyle can't deal with
not other people's feelings.
Yes, I was just going to say that. She cannot deal with other people's feelings. You need to be able to deal with other people's feelings. In my opinion, the only kinds of friendships I'm interested in are the ones where we can deal with each other's feelings. What is the point if not? What is the point?
It's
Period.
It's that Kathy Hilton life, and I feel like you can really
God,
only
not
afford that
interested.
if you can afford that. Like,
Right.
because
Right.
it's so isolating for me to not be able to tell people how I feel.
It is such a fucking lonely feeling.
Yes. And
You
I
can be
feel lonely when I ask someone how they're doing and I can tell they're not telling me the truth. I'm like, but
Yes.
how are you doing?
Yes.
Like, what?
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
give me like, well, we bought a tree and we had to saw the top off. Can you believe it? But they gave us $18 off because I was like, this is not, how
Right.
are you? This is a
Yes.
weird story about a too tall Christmas tree.
Yep. Yep. Because they can't deal with their own feelings in that moment. So when Kyle wants to deal with her feelings, then,
Well, Kyle needs to
better
be
get ready.
coddled and then you can fuck
Yep.
off. But
Exactly.
unless you're the, people at the top of her pyramid. If you're Mauricio, she'll, bend over backwards for you until she reaches a weird limit and leaves. Morgan, I'm sure, will experience some of the same, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
So thankfully that dinner is done.
God.
And then the next morning we have getting ready for boating montages. And Statler and Waldorf are back in full form. Garcelle and Sutton, Kent Lett talking about the dinner from the previous night. Can we eat or are we in divorce court? Do you have vodka in your coffee? Listen, maybe she did, because the next morning when they're on their way back, she's pouring herself and I have no problem with having. You want to have a what's the technical name? Technical. What's the name of the cocktail when it's
Irish
orange
coffee?
juice and vodka?
Oh,
What?
Orange juice. Oh, screwdriver.
A screwdriver, right?
Wow.
My preference, my citrus and vodka was always a Greyhound. Although I don't think that my antidepressant plays well with grapefruit.
Grapefruit is so weird. It's like
grapefruit.
You can't
of all
drink it when
things.
you're on antibiotics. I remember learning that in college, and I was like, "What do you mean? Like,
Oh God,
what does it do?"
One
and
of
then they
the-
explained, and I'll never remember. But
One of the very worst times that I ever vomited after doing ketamine at home was when I had grapefruit juice.
what is going on? It's so
violent.
delicious.
It's so delicious, but it's something about grapefruit is dang. Dorit goes to Erica Jane's room. Erica Jane said that she can relate. She said that, to where Dorit's at, because when she acted angry and short-tempered, when she was in the weeds with Tom, her marriage and her reputation blowing up at the same time, like she gets the space that Dorit's in. I think that it might be on the same side of the room, but I think it's a different space technically than where Erica was, where Dorit is right now. I don't think that they're not in the same couch. They might be in the same room. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I think you're right, but I did think Erica boiled it down appropriately, saying that Dorit is coming off as short-tempered and angry, but underneath it all is fear. And I think that is where she and Erica probably do reside on the same couch at this moment in their relative divorces. So, yeah. And then Kathy, Kyle, and Jennifer Tilly are just like, Jennifer Tilly has no emotional investment in any of this. She's like, I'm sorry about it, but I enjoyed that fight. It was like watching tennis. And I was like, oh my God, just tell it like it is, okay? And Kathy was like, me too.
I mean, say that when Kyle's not in the room. I mean,
Kyle
if you
looked
have
mortally
to say
wounded, and Jennifer Tilly did not even notice. And I was like, I love her.
I know. I definitely appreciate the entertainment factor she brings. I'm not going to lie. She is a feast for the eyes on every sense. She's a stunning woman. Her clothes, I just want to walk through her closet and just like finger the clothes as I walk through the whole cavernous area. It's cavernous. It goes forever.
And it's just patterns and colors and shapes and like everything.
Vintage couture and one-off caftans and
she has real style.
She really does, and I so appreciate it.
Yeah, she's
absolutely
fun. She's fun
signature
to see
style
on the TV.
100%.
And then we get a little bit of like unhealed Al-Anonism with
big time.
Yeah, okay. When Kathy's like, well, why don't you talk to Dorit a little today? And she's like, if I feel like it. And it's like, you guys had an explosive screaming match at a dinner, and now you're just going to be like, I just want to have fun today. It's like, oh my God. At least in me, that brought up all of my like childhood things of like, you just get used to being in the pattern of explosive, catastrophic evenings. And then in the morning, you just dust it off and put on your clothes and do your hair and off we go. Different day. Here we go. It was so weird.
The amount of acting, though, that it takes, the amount of just sheer willpower to go through a situation like that. I can't stomach it anymore.
No.
I can't stomach it.
And that's why lots of people who grew up in alcoholic households or households with Al-Anons in them, untreated Al-Anons, like it's why I turn to other self-destructive behaviors, because it's like you need a relief from that because it's so crazy and so tense. So no wonder you try weird controlling behaviors with food, or you try to check out with drugs, or you try to get a fucking break from that cycle.
Right.
But they're so comfortable in it. It's just part of their conversation.
Oh my God. Yeah. Kyle in her confessional says that she feels awkward and she wants to engage in the punishing again.
What does that mean?
I don't even know.
I didn't know what that meant.
And maybe that she means she wants to continue to ice Dorit out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably exactly what it is. I didn't understand, but I think that probably makes sense.
Which is just wow, don't tell us, dude. Go pay someone and tell them who's professionally trained to help you process that. Because that's shit. I don't know. Maybe I should commend her for being brutally honest.
I guess.
Damn, dude.
I did love Jennifer Tilly as people entered the lobby in their outfits.
Yeah.
Sutton comes down and she goes, "Look at you, JoJo Siwa." And Sutton was like, I'm going for Grace Kelly, but okay.
Right, I know,
and Dorit comes in and she's like, "What's up, Stevie Nicks?" She just kept on she is just in a different world, and I love her for it. She's unfucking phased by any of these women.
And I don't know if you noticed, but when Jennifer gave what I'm assuming is the compliment when she said, "Okay, look at you, Stevie Nicks," Kyle, I saw something flash across her mind oh, either she didn't get the compliment or she was whatever. But listen, if Jennifer Tilly is complimenting your style, Kyle, you need to shut the bleep up. Because that's a legit compliment.
Yeah.
Dorit complimenting my style, Jennifer Tilly again, I don't believe that Jennifer Tilly is ever going to seek me out to compliment my style, even if she was standing next to me. I don't think she's going to be "Oh, I like your whatever,"
She would say it if she. It literally seems like she almost has no guardian on her. As people walked in the space, she just said what she thought.
Because she is a billionaire.
I know.
She don't have to.
I know.
And she's that kind of
amazing.
Billionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's that kind of billionaire.
Yeah.
She's the Kathy Hilton kind of billionaire. They
don't
have
matter.
to.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, they don't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, all aboard the Seahawk with Captain Theo. And Captain Theo to me looked like if Chris Kattan and Beck Bennett from Saturday Night Live, both Saturday Night Live alums, if they had a baby, it would be Captain Theo.
That's interesting. That's a really good read. Because I thought he had a little whiff of PK to him. Maybe it's just because he was kind of pink and short, but I don't know. I was surprised that Sutton had an instant crush on Captain Theo. And
yeah, me too.
And also, I'm not sure I believe it.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going on. I'm starting to just feel this boat scene, I just felt I don't know. I didn't believe the stories people were telling me. I didn't believe Sutton really had a crush on this guy. I think
maybe he had some sort of energy going on that didn't translate to camera.
Well, and it's maybe also because I watched too much Below Deck. So everyone, it's just constant gaggles of women boarding these boats and flirting with the captain.
True.
And these captains are the product. They're the 30 years after of the idiots that we watch on those shows who are staffed in the lower levels. They're all just horny drunks. And I'm just really, Sutton? This is whatever. But he was darling. And I don't know what is wrong with me. I will never be impressed with a boat. I'm just they're this is gorgeous. I'm it's small. It's weird brown leather. It's not gorgeous. The ocean is gorgeous.
Sutton's I think this is probably a 90-footer. She would know.
All of I don't know. Again, my sister and I had to do lots of boat trips with my angry dad as children. So I think it's ruined for us.
But
But it's
there you
also,
go.
even without that, it is the stuff like you can't use the toilet. Just you can't do a normal thing on a boat. You have to like it's camping. It's camping with a roof and a terrifying sea of like creatures that
Dude.
exist beneath.
Yeah. I mean, sailing yachts, not for me. Don't care about
Terrifying.
that thing where you
No.
go half, like you're about to like get into the water. No.
I always found it terrifying. My dad would do it and the mast would touch the fucking
No,
water.
no,
and I'm
thank
like, that
you.
means we're almost in
Yeah,
it. Like, can
yeah.
we not?
No, thank you.
But that's when
No,
you're going
thank
like
you.
really fast. And I don't know. It is not for me, but it is beautiful, but I'm not a thrill seeker on water.
Well, billionaire's going to billionaire, and Kathy Hilton tells the grill guy how she tells Alec Vasquez, we learn his name later, I see you, Alec, that she tells him how to cook the lobster. And you know what? She might be the lobster grill master, but still, ma'am, sit back and just really, of all the things you're going to give your energy to, which she never expends energy, she doesn't even hold her own smoothie to her mouth. Why is she choosing this time to do it?
Yeah, and like rearranging the flowers. Now, I did agree with her. There were 2 Gerbera daisies and like a arrangement of roses, and they did look like eyeballs. It was strange, but it was a weird, like you said, it's a weird place to put your energy when you're someone who
Yeah.
does not spend much. That was a very weird choice, but
Ay, ay, ay.
control. Oh God, then we revisit. Sutton asks Kyle and Dorit how they're feeling in the aftermath of last night, and Dorit calmly says she's angry, frustrated, and hurt, but she loves Kyle. She says, I love you. I don't hate you. And then Kyle weeps and makes this very strange statement where she's like, we're both going through so much and we don't need to be thinking about this right now. And I was like, wait a minute. That is so dismissive and rude. So basically she's saying they're both going through separations and that's actually emotional. So this stupid friendship argument isn't. And she actually used the word stupid. She said, we need our energy for these other things. This is just stupid. And I'm like, but you made a huge argument last night out of something that is suddenly now unimportant and stupid. You dug in and defended when you could have just said all of this last night. Okay.
Yep. And again, she cried. She
Yeah.
cried. That's her signature. That is her signature manipulation tactic. In my opinion, in my observation, she brought out the little weepy tears. That's what Kyle does to evade responsibility. Because it probably worked for her very, very well for a very, very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she thinks it still is. I personally have always seen right through it, but I can't stand people like her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And then Dorit notes the irony of she and Kyle being so far apart, farther apart than they've ever been, while PK and Mauricio are closer than ever. And Dorit says she wants to close that gap and says, I'm sorry. And Kyle apologizes for hurting Dorit's feelings and doesn't mention that she's like she stands up to go get her phone to like check on her kids. And I'm like, are you checking on your kids? Or are you like sending a hilarious meme to PK?
right.
Like this would have been a great time to bring up. Like, yes, PK and Mauricio are close, but you probably should know that I am occasionally in touch with PK as well. That would have added a whole other flavor to this lobster lunch.
And also when Kyle gives her apology, she says, once again, I apologize for hurting your feelings. And again, I could be layering more on to that once again comment than I should be, but it just felt again like another little passive aggressive dig. You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm just, again, people like Kyle really, really trigger me. They really get under my skin.
I mean, she's clearly not sorry. And she also just absolutely diminished Dorit's feelings by saying, like, this is stupid. And Dorit is willing to end a whole friendship over what's happened. So to her, it's not stupid. So for Kyle to say this is stupid is rude and dismissive and abusive. It's just so, oh God.
Agreed.
She makes me crazy.
And then poor Dorit, like, she seems to be in deep denial about her marriage. And then she is in deep denial about her friendship with Kyle after this conversation. She says she feels optimistic that she and Kyle can put the pieces back together. More conversations need to be had, but they don't have to be toxic and tumultuous. Which, yes, I agree with the second half of that. But I don't know that there's any pieces to be put back together, nor are you sure you want that for yourself, Dorit. Is she a friend? I don't think she is. I don't trust her at all.
No, and again, as Dr. Samantha Fox would say, only one person has all the information. Like Kyle is withholding a significant piece of information,
Ooh,
which
very
is
good
that she
point.
is in daily contact-ish with Dorit's ex. So Dorit is saying, I'm lonely, I'm scared, I'm looking to lean on friends. And Kyle's like, we can work on it, but I just got to text your ex-husband. Like, it's like if Dorit
Oh my
knew that,
God.
she would not be putting any of this energy into that conversation. It's just too, it's messy, at the very least.
So Sutton in this episode, she really, fuck this again. This highlights where I need work, and I acknowledge that and own it. She pulls Dorit aside to say that she's been there and she can lean on. You can lean on me, Dorit. And Dorit says that she's been stretched as much as she can be stretched. And then Sutton says something really interesting, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. Dorit has always declared her love for PK. Is there an underlying serious tragedy in this love affair? And when that happens, can you really have good judgment? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What could the tragedy be?
That he sent
He's been
someone to their
accused of
house
many
with
things.
guns
Yes.
and their
yes.
children were in the house and it all
DUIs.
went off just right. But
allegedly
boy,
getting caught in the car with
right,
a
with
woman
another
that was
woman.
not his spouse. I don't think any of us who have eyes and aren't complete babes in the woods, because that's the sheer nature of our individual personalities. Like, I don't think any of us have watched him on this show and been like, that's a real stand-up dude. He's a real stand-up
Nothing
guy.
but trustworthy, that PK.
He's not a walking red flag. I mean, ooh, Sutton. Garcelle and Kyle go up to talk on the Hermes towels. Garcelle says everyone has a lot going on. Like, for her, the boys are going away soon. Her career is good, but what about herself as like a woman? What about everything outside of what she does? And Kyle says her whole identity was as a mom and a wife, and she's been trying to figure herself out for the past few years. And I didn't get the sense that Kyle was meeting Garcelle where she was,
No.
rather than just relating, oh yeah, well, I've done that too, or, and not to like one up Garcelle, but just like she wasn't listening.
No, I
and
totally
holding
agree.
what Garcelle was saying. She was just like, me too, and this is why. And
No,
I just didn't like it.
I didn't either. She was like, this is my story now. This is my story.
Exactly. Yes.
As opposed to being like, well, what do you think about? There's so many different ways to have that conversation. But Kyle was like, and then Kyle in her confessional worries about being alone as an old person.
Yeah.
Saying the hardest part is the not knowing of what the end looks like. And it's, again, what I've worked on so hard in therapy and in 12 step rooms and all of it is like, nobody knows what the end of this day looks like. This is
exactly
good luck planning. Good luck. Did you learn nothing from your 30-year marriage dissolving, that like trying to look for the end and reverse engineer that outcome is, a road to insanity.
I would argue that this is part of why she needs to control so badly, because she still believes that she can manage her life in such a way that she can plan the outcome of everything. And until she realizes that she can't, she's going to be fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dorit tells Sutton she's never felt more alone or more lonely. And Dorit feels like Sutton is really showing up for her, and it was unexpected. And I agree. I think that both she and Erica they're really meeting her where she's, Kyle recently went through this, and maybe because it's so close in her rearview mirror, still like she's still in the car that it's happening in, like it's still unfolding in real time. Maybe that's why Kyle isn't able to show up for her the way it seems like she would be able to, given what she's going through simultaneously. But I was heartened and softened to see Erica and Sutton both do this for Dorit. And I felt like they were coming from genuine places.
I do too, but this is again what I work on in therapy and 12-step rooms this is the allure of an alcoholic. This is what they
Yes.
do. You
Yes.
have a moment
Yes.
like this with Sutton and you feel like, oh
Yes.
my God,
Yeah,
you
you're
are a
right,
wonderful
dude. You're right. Oh
person.
my God, you're
And then
right.
cut to the next fucking morning and she's like an absolute raging, see you next Tuesday. So it just is like, I fell for it too. In this moment, I was like, oh my God,
Oh my God.
she's sincere. She made a charming joke about the sea lion barking in agreement with her. I
Yep.
was like, oh, Sutton, you
Yep.
are,
Yep. Oh my
despite
God,
all
you're
of the other
right.
things I think of you, Sutton, in this moment, I see you. You have gone through a divorce. Your sons were the same age. You are really in this with dirt. No, you know what I mean? And like, I am still susceptible to it. I fell for it in that moment too. And I have got to learn to like, that is not the entirety of who this person is. And it makes them feel good to make you feel that way. It's not about making you feel
Oh
that
my God,
way.
Margee, you're so fucking right, dude.
I'm just like, I'm steeped in decades of like trying to get past this. But like you, I fell for this moment too with the breeze in their hair. And like, I thought it was so sweet. And I was like, oh my God, this is the beginning of a Dorit Sutton. No.
No, it was shocking. It was shocking.
It was shocking, but in the way that I'm always shocked when my dad does something like insane. I'm like, it's amazing that I never see what he does coming because it's like so imaginative and creative the way he can cause a scene. But I cannot continue to be surprised that he causes a scene. It's like,
Yeah.
of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
Like,
Oh my
come on,
God.
Margie.
Can't believe I fucking missed that, dude. You're
No, it's
absolutely
just
right.
it is, but that's why it takes a daily, for me, it takes daily work to like, I mean, sitting right here is my Al-Anon daily meditation book that I
Oh
read every day
yeah.
just to be like, you know, it's because it's so seductive. Alcoholics are fucking wonderful,
Yeah.
you know? God damn
Yeah.
it.
I know, you're right. Charismatic as hell.
Yeah, but the ones who are still sick, and then they'll get in the
Yes.
Sprinter van with you in the morning and like
Pour
scream at
themselves.
you and yell and look shocked. Like she
Pour
did her
themselves
whole,
a
yeah,
generous fucking belt of vodka while the car is in motion into a
amazing.
solo cup, for Christ's
Amazing.
sake.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You're right. Oh, dude. Not perfect yet. Not
Oh,
perfect
well,
yet,
not
Ramona.
perfect yet.
So then we go back to the conversation with Kyle and Garcelle, and this is where Kyle tells Garcelle that PK reaches out to her, and Garcelle is like shocked, as were we all. The mouths agape in front of the myriad TVs that were airing this show. I can only assume.
Yeah.
Stunning.
That was
Stunning.
really, I really
Egregious.
appreciated Garcelle's honest reaction because it is, and Kyle was unfazed by it.
Completely.
It just is so interesting how she can rationalize all of her own behaviors, and it's amazing. And then to button that scene, we cut to Dorit saying, I'm just, protective of myself and who I trust. And it's like, gulp.
Yeah. Yikes. Yikes. Oof, oof, oof.
Then we quickly touch down with Bose, Jennifer Tilly, Erica, and Kathy. And Bose is telling the story of her new man that she met through his nephew. And I thought it was so funny when she was like, do I look like someone who dates uncles? And then she surrendered and dated this man. They've been together 8 months.
Yep.
And she said she's had a hard time finding a partner since her husband passed. And prior to this new guy, she'd been with a guy who was lying to her and sleeping with his ex.
Dude.
But it did confuse me because she's like, he was a whole con artist. And then someone was like, how did you find out? She's like, I asked him and he told me the truth. And I was like, wait, what? Okay.
But maybe she had already asked him, or
I'm sure of
or he
it. I'm
told
sure.
her, right.
And they finally just got to, like, after months of suspicion, he finally just was like, you know what? Yes, I'm doing it with everyone.
And then J. Till says that she dated a grifter.
I love that word.
I know. And she would hand him her credit card under the table so it would look like he was paying. And I was like, oh my God. Like, the person taking it's going to see on that black Amex card, no doubt, that it says, one Ms. Jennifer Tilly on it. But also, listen, if grifter, liar, con artists are, like Bose and Jennifer Tilly, we can argue are titans in both of their respective industries. I mean, JT is a prolific voice actor. She is a prolific, competitive, professional poker player. And we obviously know Bose's work history. Like, these women, we would probably look at and say, it never happens to them. It happens to them. It happened to them.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was, like, no one is safe from problematic fucking men, man. And it blows.
Well, but it's also the natural part of like trying to find a connection with someone. I do think that, like Jennifer Tilly said, when your effort is to trust someone, you don't start trying to sniff out this other shit,
Yeah,
and like, she's like, I just don't understand how people do that. And so I didn't necessarily see this guy on the con.
Oh, God.
So
As Danny
weird.
Pellegrino says, who among us, ladies, am I right?
Yeah.
Anyone,
Yeah.
anyone can be taken by a grifter. And then, let's see, they get ready to deboat. What do you call it when you get off the boat? What's the technical term?
I don't know.
Who cares? Different show, different shows. Dorit tells Sutton that she can see her and Captain Theo together. And Dorit, can you give him my phone number? And Kathy tells him, hey, Captain Theo, carry Sutton off because of her legs, her legs. And I'm like, oh my God.
Which is like the least
humiliating.
And Kathy exactly is the worst wing woman to be like, oh, you know what? She's like Tiny Tim. Like she has a bum leg. So it's like the least sexy like way to get it, but whatever.
Jeez. I mean, with friends like that, man.
Truly. But Captain Theo is a great sport. He carries her off the boat and Erica announces to him, Sutton's interested, and then Dorit hands off the phone number, and he very sweetly walks over and says, like, it was nice to meet you. I was like, aw, Captain Theo.
Yeah. I'll have to look at the after show and see
if they met up in Oceanside.
If they ever embarked on a romance.
Hey.
Margie, I'm real proud of myself for that
I
one.
love it.
Thank you. I thought you'd be proud. I thought you'd be proud.
Yes.
So they're getting ready for dinner, and Erica Jane says to her glam, I think I'll have a cocktail. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all I'm going
to say. She's like, a cocktail. Like, the fact that she has to, like, plan it out, and she's saying it out loud to another person. It's like she's trying to convince herself that's what she's going to do. Or maybe she's just setting an internal boundary. Who knows? But, like, if you have to plan it out, like, what? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I do know, again, because it is, I mean, I was at a bunch of holiday parties this week, and like everybody out here is on one of the weight loss drugs. And it does seem like there is something that they have to keep track, because it appears the system does not process this in a way that some are accustomed to. And so it can backfire pretty badly. So I wonder if Erica, who is clearly still on a full dose as she like becomes, a little vanishing whisperer, I do wonder if that is, if she's speaking to her medication to be like, remind yourself, don't have more than 2. Because she,
Very fair point. Very fair point. Yes. I have been craving a like filthy, like pornographically filthy martini lately. And I did have one when I was in San Diego at a very beautiful, festive hotel lobby / bar that was just like every holiday decor dream come to life. It was stunning. And I was like, yeah, I think I can handle one, especially if it's half olive juice, because it wouldn't make me sick. But yes, that's a very good point. Those meds they don't play well with alcohol unless you have a history of such heavy drinking that your body is just kind of like, welp.
Yeah.
This is just a natural part of how I function now. So Wegovy, whatever GLP-1 you're taking can't really, they meet in the ring and they're like, let's agree to disagree, but
let's just lay down and
we're going to live
anyway.
together. Let's, you stay cool, I'll stay cool, but we're both here. Yeah, we're both here. Okay, cool. Anyway.
It did seem also like Erica's aware that last year she was clearly on that medication, although she announced it was hormones.
Hormones.
But that was her merces in the purse, when she got a little too loose. So I think she was sort of working out what that new balance is going to be in her body. And so I wonder if she's just like you said, setting the internal boundary to remind herself, like, let's do one drink and like keep it there so it doesn't get too loose in Oceanside.
Cannabis never hurt nobody. Cannabis helps with nausea.
Oh, right.
Just saying.
Listen.
Just saying.
All
Ancient
kinds of
medicine. It's an
options.
ancient medicine. Sutton then, panics over her nasal spray being toast. And I was all, oh, shit, we're just going from one substance to another.
Goodness.
Some people are addicted to nasal spray. I don't know if that's the case with Sutton. Maybe she was getting over a sinus infection.
She did sound really stuffy this whole trip.
Yeah.
So. And I've been in that position too, where you're getting through an event or a travel day or something, and like everything starts to run, and it's like, no, I can't. I'm almost done. But she has bigger fish to fry because she has a speech that she's handwriting for the dinner, and then somehow later it winds up on her phone. I don't know if an assistant typed it in or if there's some like AI program that turns her handwriting into a note or whatever. But boy, she put a lot of work into something that was Chat GPT as far as I could tell.
I mean, yeah, I guess I thought that because she was writing it in her journal that it wasn't Chat GPT, but also is Sutton technologically skilled enough to use Chat GPT?
Probably not. I do believe that this came from her own imagination, but it is so barren in that space that all she could give us was friendships have ups and downs and twists and turns. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, we watched this show. This is not just standard ups and downs and twists and turns, but okay, ma'am.
Did notice that when she is writing it out, her hairstylist looks over her shoulder and says, damn, that's a long toast. And Sutton did not like that comment.
No, and she used the coded Dorit language of it's long-winded. And Sutton was like, what?
She did not appreciate that. I don't think Avi would have said that. And if he did, he would have already known like the appropriate Sutton-approved tone to use. And I don't know if this is her regular glam or if this is her glam on the road. That was all, oh, damn.
It's not her glam anymore. I bet you anything. Because, yes, that was unpleasant.
We pivot to dinner, and there are some dramatic Selling Sunset-style entrances that are in slow-mo with the outfits kind of, flowing. And on Kyle's, it was like, it was like half a flow of her white shirt. Anyway, it made me laugh.
That's funny.
Just Jennifer Tilly's dress was just, she's a feast for the eyes. If nothing else, she's a feast for the eyes.
I loved Garcelle's outfit, too. I thought she looked beautiful.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Then we go to, everyone sits at this like pretty boho dinner table, and Kyle takes a photo of Boz and says, I'm going to send this to my man. And then Kyle weirdly pivots this to asking Kathy if she sends nudes to Rick. Which is just,
barf.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. But again, it's like Kathy Hilton is a network sitcom character because she's like, we have a couple in the safe in the bank. It's like, what would you write for your billionaire cartoon characters? That line. It's just like, oh, okay.
And then she's like, Caesar's Palace, they have the mirrors above the bed. Very sexy. And I'm like,
very sexy.
No. Rewind. Men in Black, this whole little convo here.
But Kyle said that. She's like, ew, I don't want to think about it. I'm like, you asked. You literally directly asked. So like, don't do that now.
And what's going to happen if Kyle is asked, do you send nudes to Morgan? Did you send them to Mauricio? Oh, she would freak out.
She would absolutely freak out. And of course she does.
Yeah.
She's like working out nonstop. She looks great. I'm sure that's part of their whatever. Anyways, Kathy then, this is, oh God, tells Garcelle that she looks so slim. Are you in love?
Yeah, dude.
And then this is where I got skeptical again because Sutton quickly jumps in and she's like, she's got no man. And I was like, I don't know if I believe that. I'm starting now to wonder, does Garcelle have a man? Because she got all weird too. The whole thing, just something about it felt performative. And I don't know if that's just the nature of having a conversation with Kathy Hilton, that you just sort of have to like go somewhere else in your head to make that make sense. or if they're concealing something. But anyways, that little segment was Kathy notes Garcelle is thin, asks if it's because of a man.
God.
Garcelle says no, and Kathy says you need to act helpless like Sutton to get a man. And I was like, I am ready to be done with this exchange. Oh my God.
Nobody take advice from that woman, ever. No. And then Garcelle says what I don't know, maybe I didn't find the sweater that she wore on that date to be particularly egregious, but I think it was the whole package that night with the talking about the feet right away. But Garcelle said she'd rather be single than going on a date in a kitty sweater. Fair.
Yeah, to each their
Fair.
own, man. You know, it suits Sutton. It would not suit Garcelle. So that seems like someone who knows herself. And then this is again where Garcelle, I was like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Garcelle asked Dorit why she reposted something Teddy Mellencamp posted after Dorit had declared that they're not friends. And Dorit clarifies saying they're not close, but of course they're friends. And everyone murmurs about like, that's not what she said. That's not what she said. Roll tape. It's exactly what she said.
Exactly what she said.
And Dorit explained it. She was tagged in a post that was promoting John Cougar Mellencamp's show that night. And she basically said, I just automatically reposted it as I do. I don't think she gave any thought to like, I'm going to support Teddy. But she said, I'm happy to support her dad's show. Like, what difference does it make? And then Kyle's little bitchy ass says, does John Cougar Mellencamp really need Dorit's help promoting the show? And I was like, yeah, because he made that post and he tagged all of them. And you know why you do that, so that they will repost it so more people will see it and buy tickets and hopefully come. So yes, Kyle, not to be a bitch, but John Cougar Mellencamp hasn't meant anything to anyone for 50 years. I'm so sorry.
And leave it to Reddit. Leave it to Reddit. Someone posted a screenshot of, it was either someone on Reddit made the post or they reposted content from Instagram or TikTok where someone had already posted this. But my point is, there was a screenshot of how many followers John Cougar Mellencamp has, which is 150, and how many Dorit has, which is over 1 million or 2. It's either over 1.5 or over 2.5 million followers. So, and I believe in her bio, it does say fashionista, self-proclaimed fashionista. So like, okay. I know. I had to
Look,
get
I'm doing a show in February. If I knew Dorit, I would tag her and have her. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about any of it except getting eyes on the event.
It's him posting it. So yes,
he initiated it, or
Kyle,
Teddy did, or whatever.
You are of an era where, yes, John Cougar Mellencamp might not need, in your opinion, social media bumps, but this is the world we're living in. I don't like it any more than you do.
And like, let a man fill out his show. Clearly there were tickets available or he wouldn't have done this. So just like, what do you care? And clearly Dorit had given no real thought to it. She didn't seem invested. She was like, whatever. I saw that I was tagged and so I reposted it because I noticed it was an event this evening.
Right. And you know what?
Whatever, Garcelle.
If someone tagged me and I actively disliked that person, I would not repost it. But if it was someone like a friendly acquaintance or a casual friend, yeah, I probably would.
Because it's more of a statement not to repost it.
Right.
And that causes all sorts of trauma that, like, who cares? It's a John Cougar Mellencamp one night only show. Who cares?
Right.
So
I agree with you on that observation about Garcelle. I did think that she did it to try to start shit. So in case it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
So Sutton starts her speech, and Kathy Hilton looks like, oh my God, this is so lame. And then Kyle just makes fun of Sutton because she's holding the notebook out far because she doesn't have her reading glasses. And I'm like, you know what, bitch? You probably need reading glasses too at this point. So just shut up. If you want to deal with your own, issues over aging, fine. But you don't have to make fun of your friend for it. When you're in the same boat,
who
dude.
The night before admitted to icing someone out for 6 months because of a shitty comment.
Right,
Shut
dude.
up.
Right.
Walk the walk, you monster. Like, God. And this is, Sutton's stilted, vague speech about sisterhood. She really wants them to bind in friendship this year. And then she ties their hands together with a ribbon and says, we're now sisters for life. And I was like, again, this is an alcoholic at work. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's some big performance. We're all expected to buy in. And the next day in the Sprinter van, she's so pissy because no one took it seriously. And it's like, you're crazy. Don't ask me to take it seriously to stand up at an oceanside rooftop restaurant, put my palm under like a blue satin ribbon and be like, this makes sense. Dude, God. And this is where I got turned on myself. And I was like, Margee, you fell for it. Because I was still in the headspace of Sutton's a queen for looking after Dorit. And then I'm like, she is nuts. And then she ends the episode being mean. So full circle experience with yeah.
Bose makes the hilarious joke that she might be Mrs. Sutton by this point after the blue sash of it all. That was
and she's
hilarious.
like, I want to be Mrs. Sutton. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, yeah, she doesn't want to be. Sutton says she wants it to be their year in friendship, and Dorit wants to believe in the power of the ribbon. And then we cut to the next morning where there was no power of the ribbon. Cut to, yeah. Sutton starts that Sprinter ride to the municipal airport to take a plane ride that's probably going to be all
20
of 15
minutes.
fucking minutes. Right. I was just like, hey.
The carbon footprint. Exactly. I was like, you guys.
Who knows her? Right.
It's more of a hassle to get in and out of each vehicle than it would just be to sit down and drive the hour and a half. Like, I know. And listen. I hurt for the ozone layer on this one.
Truly. It was egregious. It was egregious. So yes, Sutton starts to do the heaviest pour of vodka I've ever seen on a Sprinter van in the entire time I've been watching these franchises since 2008. It was a heavy ass pour. Mm-hmm. She says that, none of you took it seriously, but I meant it. And she said that Erica Jane whispered something to Kathy or Kyle during her speech. To Kyle. And she feels awkward about people talking about friends behind their back.
This is where, again, all of my interactions with alcoholics, I'm trying so hard to understand what Sutton wants, and it is so unclear. She's like, you didn't take my ceremony seriously. And then she says, I wanted to affirm that we can have honest and open disagreements. And I'm also mad that Erica had a side conversation in a stage whisper. And also Teddy's, and I was just like, what do you want? What are you mad about? Because you're just saying like so much, you're just saying so much, and it's crazy. And then she comes unglued that it's not about Teddy, and Dorit is like, it felt like it was about Teddy. You were certainly yelling at me about Teddy. What is going on? And then Garcelle tries to save Sutton by saying, it's about we should be able to call each other out, work through it, and move on. But again, I'm like, no, it's not. The speech she gave was about friendship. Like, what the fuck is happening? We are through the looking glass and we are trying to follow the lead of a drunk, and I'm mad. And again, this has nothing to do with Sutton. I'm on a road trip with my dad at this point and trying to figure out what does he want so we can just get through this.
Dude.
And it's all over the place, and Garcelle's trying to clarify what she says makes no sense. Yeah, Dorit notes that this is a very different Sutton than the one that was on the boat being like supportive and kind to her. Yeah. And I was like, it's the same Sutton, honey. I mean, I got fooled too, but this is the same girl.
Kathy's just scrolling and she don't give a fuck until she says, I don't want to be in this group anymore.
I don't blame her. She's like, get me to my giant mansion and away from these morons.
She's something else. And go ahead. No, you go.
Just Dorit addresses Sutton saying, if we're being open and honest, then she just lights into another argument. There's a pattern where you jump down my throat and yell at me. And if I match your tone, it's like, oh my God, don't yell at me. And I was like, that's absolutely accurate.
100%.
And Sutton receives it so dramatically and just like, no, that's wrong. Like, I'm sorry, I'm annoying to you. And then she turns it on Dorit. I'm not the one who was backpedaling and creating this chaos. I'm like, you started the conversation by backpedaling and saying yesterday you didn't take me seriously. Like, what is happening? This is so chaotic and my whole system is coming undone. And then Dorit calls Sutton childish And Sutton proves her point by refusing to exit the van first, even though she's seated nearest the door. And I was like, this is crazy. Sutton's like, go. And Dorit's like, what? And she goes, go. And makes
my
Dorit
God.
crawl over her to get. I was just like, you are the worst. I'm
She's
right back to where I
controlling in her
was
way.
last season.
She's trying to maintain her power in her way.
Well, she is.
Yeah. Toxic, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's 40 ounces deep in Tito's and just
Bruh.
making no sense. It made
Totally.
me crazy.
and then they hop on a plane to kill the ozone layer for a 15-minute flight.
To probably
Van
fight some
Nuys.
more. Wonderful.
Right. Friend, what else did you watch this week?
This week, I got caught up on Southern Charm. I think there's only been 2 episodes. Talk about addiction. We've got some of that going on in there. Someone who's recovered, someone who is deep in it. You don't watch that show, right?
I don't.
Okay.
I've been told by people that I should watch it, but I can't go back and watch anything with Thomas Ravenel or Catherine Dennis. I refuse. I find them repugnant, and I feel for their children. I feel for their children deeply. I can't even look at them without thinking about traumatized children. I can't do it.
No, and those children are traumatized, and a lot of people in this cast are repugnant, but again, like as a sociology lesson, it's like these people exist in this world, Margee. Like, take a look and see how they function. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But one of them, Shep, is a longtime alcoholic and had a real meltdown at BravoCon. Very publicly got carried out of the casino because he was so shit-faced. And at the reunion, he was like, "I'm sorry, I really see that I have a problem." And his 2 friends were like, and he's like, "You guys aren't helping me out at all." And they're like, "'Cause you say this every month. We've had this conversation 17 times. I hope this is the time that you get your shit together. But like, dude, we're not going to rush to your side anymore because you're always drunk. You're always whining and saying, 'I'm sorry.' And then you're drunk again. And you did this in the most public forum. And we're just not here for it anymore." And so the season starts with Shep being like, "My friends abandoned me. And I went to get help. I went to Costa Rica and did ayahuasca
Oh, dear.
to get over alcoholism."
Oh, dear.
And then he came back and he's been drinking nonstop ever since. And he sits his friends down to say, like, "You guys are abandoning me." And they're like, "Dude, all you're doing is going to bars and getting in trouble all the time. We're not going to hang out with you. We told you that." So it's really interesting to see someone who's not ready to recover yet and how desperately they try to make the other people in their life at fault for, manufacturing their own
God damn.
miseries.
So listen, I will say this, and I see, this is why I feel so strongly about being I'm so pissed that that's what he did.
Do ayahuasca. Yeah.
That he went to do ayahuasca.
He
doesn't do the therapy with it or the integration with it or with
there's
intentionality.
There's no confusion on the show that he did anything right.
Thank God.
Everyone is clear that what you've done is utterly incomplete.
Good.
And what you did was you got busted and then you went on vacation out of the country and you did something and you did drugs. You didn't do it as therapy or treatment. You did more drugs, and then you came back and tried to pass it off as treatment and continue to act like an ass. So, but I love the show for being real clear with the audience of like, Shep is selling a stupid bill of goods here.
Good, because
don't buy.
Psychedelics can be definitely used to help with substance use disorder.
Of course.
100%.
But with a lot of other treatment built in.
That's the fun part. You've got to do the other stuff with it. You've got to do the therapy and the integration work with it and be really clear on what your intentions are before you go into every journey. And I am just so scared of what's happening around the understanding and the discussion of psychedelics.
It's
because
understood.
Of people like
but it is
Joe
understood
Rogan and
that he's
Elon
an idiot.
Musk, and just I fear for it.
I don't, because it's so clear that he's not doing this to get well because he's not well.
Yeah.
And he's so manipulative. He sits down his friend who had slept with his ex-girlfriend and says, like, I had during my trip, I forgave you for that because I saw you and your dead sister. And you see this kid whose sister passed away when he was a little kid, and you see him immediately like shocked into like grief and loss. And I just was like, you're a monster. You're so awful. But it's fascinating.
I mean,
It's
and
fascinating.
I do believe that that's probably what he saw, and I do believe that he probably did have compassion and a new understanding of his friend.
But you don't bring it
But
up by
you
just
don't.
throwing it in his face,
That's
being
not
like,
bringing
remember
it
your
up.
dead sister? Well, that made me forgive you fucking my girlfriend. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
any intentionality or care, right? Oh God, oh, this makes me so nervous.
but
Anyway,
it is interesting to see Craig, who you know from Summer House,
yes,
who has gone through a whole journey of pill addiction. And then he quit pills, but was still drinking. And then he quit drinking. And now he's a grown up. And his friends who continue to drink cannot tolerate him because he's just very clear in like who he is. And he's bottom line, he's clear because he's not wasted all the time. And so they are picking on him, but he used to really care. It used to really hurt him. Shep named his dog Little Craig. Yeah. Just
ew.
just to be a dick, you know what I mean? And so it's fascinating to watch the evolution of Craig, who started off as this like Adderall addicted twit and is now this like pillow mogul with a fantastic girlfriend and a future that he cares about. Anyways,
Shep's the kind of alcoholic that pisses his pants in the bed next to you.
for sure.
Ew.
And then asks you
As
to
a
change
grown
the
man.
sheets. Yeah,
Blech.
without a doubt. And you're lucky if it's just piss. I'm sure there's
You're right.
like
You're
he's
absolutely
just
right. Oh my God. Ew.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
And the other thing I watched was Fortune Feimster's
Oh my God.
Netflix special. She's so great. If you want the antidote to a Shep, go watch Fortune Feimster crushing it on Netflix. She's fantastic. She's so darling and honest, and so much of it is about her mom, which I just found like endlessly adorable, and it was great. So recommend.
100%. We watched that too.
Oh,
and
you
it was
did?
adorable. Yes. In fact, she is my favorite celebrity sighting at Disneyland. And when she told the Disneyland story about coming out of the bathroom, I was like, oh my God, I wonder if that was the same day that we were there. Because she was coming out, she and her group were coming out of the locker room with their plaid tour guide. At the same time we were going in, and I was like, oh my God, that's Fortune Feimster. And this was when she was still like, she wasn't like super well known, but she was quasi well known. I don't know. It's adorable. She is such a freaking darling, gem, talented. I loved it. Yes, so good.
She's
So good.
a phenomenal human. You know, she was my student at the Groundlings.
Oh my God.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
How interesting. Yes, I believe it.
is.
Of course I believe it. Yes.
But she's also one of those cases, like I had her as a student like in the, I don't know, 2010 or something, maybe. And at the time when the industry was like, there's no place for her, there's no blah, blah. And she's honest and she's hilarious and not an inch of her is hidden or phony.
Yep.
And I love that. And it makes her she's so relaxed on stage. Like I'm just obsessed with her pink suit. Like I just thought everything
Loved
about
it.
it was just spot on. Fucking
Everything.
fantastic. So
So funny.
what
So
else
funny.
did you watch besides crushing it?
I don't think I watched a lot of reality TV in between the last time we met and now. I did binge a show called On the Verge that came out, I believe, in 2021 on Netflix. It was created by Julie Delpy. You know, the woman that did Before Sunrise and After Sunset,
Oh.
those cult classics that she did with Ethan Hawke years and years ago.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
a blonde French actress, does a lot
Okay.
of like indie cult classic-y kind of movies. And it was an ensemble cast. The only other name I'm remembering right now is Elizabeth Shue. And it was good to just watch a show about, I think it's all takes place in Santa Monica. And it's just, showing like dysfunctional, unhappy marriages and just people grappling with middle age. And it was uncomfortable to watch, but also really good. And I think it got canceled because that's the only season. And I'm bummed because I'd like to see how these lives progress. Anyway, so I watched the whole thing, 28-minute episodes.
What's it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix called
Okay.
On the Verge.
Might look that up.
Mm-hmm. There might have been something else and I can't remember what it is. So it's not important. Who cares? And what was your antidepressant this week, friend?
My antidepressant I think it was holiday parties. I don't know why this year I'm like extra tuned into everyone's like, I haven't done any of my decor yet, but I will. I'll get on it this weekend. But people's holiday decor, their like attention to details. I made fun of that woman telling me about the tree that was too big, but the tree was gorgeous and it was like Rockefeller Center, gigantic. And just these traditional parties I've gone to for like 15 years now. My friend has a bungalow bounce where she lives in this
Cute.
collection of like bungalows, and they all open their doors and everyone just bounces around between bungalows
God, I
and hangs
love
out.
that.
And it's been going on for decades. Then my friends, the Smiths, have their Smithmas
I
tree
love
trimming
that
party
too.
where you're not allowed to bring anything because they have piles of ornaments and they just put the ornaments out, and over the course of the party everyone decorates the tree, so the little kids hang ones on the low branches and tall people put it's a darling. So by the end of the
Free
night,
labor
it's great.
disguised as a party. By fucking
100%.
kudos to the Smiths.
Truly.
Kudos.
But by the
Yeah.
end of the night, it's amazing to see this gigantic tree is like fully decorated. And it's just because like one person, one ornament at a time. And then my steak mates, we had our Secret Santa dinner,
Oh, that's
our end of the
right.
year dinner. So
Yeah.
like just a lot of like, the holidays are evolving. Like they're not what they have been. Certainly the pandemic changed them, but
dude.
we're not going back because lots of things, time has passed and people are changing and stuff is adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just realizing that I'm not unmoored. Like there's these traditions that still exist in my life. They're not on Christmas Day or whatever, but it's still, there's like lots of holiday, like the things I love about the holidays exist in these places that I was in last weekend. So it was lovely.
Oh,
And more to come. I'm really
I
excited.
love that.
How about
I
you?
love that.
What was your Monday present?
I went to San Diego on Friday, and I actually got to eke out an extra night because my flight on Sunday night kept getting delayed so late that Josh was like, "Did you want to just stay till tomorrow?" And I was like, "That's probably the best idea. Yeah, you're right." And it was fucking great, dude, because 2 nights is just too short. So I had a great time seeing my friends. I had a great time seeing this band that I wanted to see. Got a little antique shopping in earnest. The weather was ridiculously beautiful. And it was just fucking lovely. My friend's house was decorated so beautifully and, just 10 out of 10, no notes. Delicious Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
And
It
a
was
dirty
great,
martini.
man. And a
Super
fucking stellar,
filthy, dirty martini.
filthy martini. Just filthy triple X
Are you
martini.
gin or vodka? I can't believe I don't know
Vodka,
this. Okay.
vodka, yeah.
That's what I thought.
I like
but-
gin and other cocktails, but like
Mhm.
straight up gin, like I am too much of a child for that.
Yeah, same.
Any
same.
hoot. So it was lovely. Lovely.
I'm
Yes.
so glad.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening. We've reached the end of another episode of A Therapeutic Dose. You know where to find us. Spread the word if you can. And, I don't know. What advice do we leave? Oh, well, not
Advice?
perfect yet. I don't know about
Well,
advice,
not perfect
but
yet.
usually
That's
I'm
it.
like, drink
You
your
know what?
water, write in your journal,
Yes,
whatever.
that's true.
Oh.
You do give lovely direction. That's true.
I just started listening to an audiobook by Tara Brach, Brach, called Radical Acceptance. And I'm telling you, I'm only to chapter 2, and even the prologue is just it's hitting me in the fucking heart. If you are hard on yourself, if you beat yourself up, if you constantly feel like, what is wrong with me, reach for either the book, the ebook, or the audiobook, Radical Acceptance. She also has a podcast. I believe I've linked it in the show notes before. I'm happy to do it again today. This book is truly just a salve, a balm. A balm. Let's a balm on your sweet soul. So that's my self-care for the week.
That's
Self-care
wonderful.
suggestion.
I'll go to Libby right now and see if I can find her in the
yes,
library.
do it.
Yeah.
The plug for Libby, man. That's the
Yeah.
library. That's your local library.
App.
And that's their app that you can download audiobooks and ebooks.
You're the
Yep.
one who introduced me to it, and I use
Fucking
it
love Libby.
like crazy. Yeah.
Love it.
I love
Love it.
And
All
I
right,
love
everyone.
you. I'm
Just
so glad.
take really, really good care. Margee, I love you so much.
Same.
And it's so lovely to be in this holiday season with you.
Same.
Yes. Yes.
And we
All right,
will
everyone.
talk
Yes,
next
please.
week.
Yes, we will talk next
have an
week for
episode
sure.
next week. And then we haven't talked about the holidays, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't even know if they're
Right.
going to have a show that week because I believe Christmas Eve might be Tuesday night, Tuesday,
be.
and that show's
Oh,
on
it's
Tuesday.
yeah, that's right. It is. It's Tuesday night. So,
Yeah, so
anyways,
we'll figure it out,
We'll
everybody.
do logistics
We'll
later.
figure
Sorry,
it out.
everybody.
Yeah, all right. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margee are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.